Over the next few minutes, I'm going to dismantle the flawed logic that has been costing you opportunities and show you how to weaponize your age. We will explore the unshakable fortress of calm that makes you a magnet in a world of boyish anxiety. We will decode the gravity of experience and how your past, even your scars, can create an almost gravitational pull of high status. But the most potent advantage, the one trait a 20-year-old is psychologically incapable of authentically replicating, is the one I'm going to save for the very end. Trust me when I say it's the secret that flips the entire power dynamic in your favor permanently. From my work observing these exact dynamics play out in thousands of real-world interactions, I've seen countless good men sabotage their own success because they are playing from a script written for boys. It's a pattern that transcends culture and geography. It's a universal struggle. And on that note, I'm always curious to see where this message is resonating. Take a moment and drop your city or state in the comments below. It's a powerful reminder that you aren't alone in this feeling. Men everywhere are navigating this same quiet battle, and today is the day you get a new map. This isn't just theory. It's about acknowledging a shared reality. So let's begin by reframing this entire battlefield. This journey is not about you trying to reclaim your youth. It's about you finally stepping into the full power of your manhood. It is about understanding the deep, often unspoken cravings of the female psyche, which tires of the chaotic energy of boys and begins to yearn for something more real, more grounded. She doesn't want another ride on the roller coaster. She's looking for gravity. And your life, your experiences, your very presence are the source of that gravity. We will start with the first and most immediate signal you can send to separate yourself. Mastering the art of the unbothered. You feel it before you can name it. You're in a vibrant room, a flicker of connection passes between you and her, a shared look, an authentic smile, and for a second, a story begins to write itself in your mind. Then, he appears. Younger, louder, radiating a kind of effortless, unearned certainty that fills the space around him. He doesn't even see you. Within moments, her focus shifts, her body language closes off to you, and she is absorbed into his world. It's not a rejection you can fight. It's a quiet erasure. You've just become a ghost, a piece of the scenery in a narrative that suddenly has no role for you. That sudden chill of irrelevance is not just your ego talking. It is the cold, creeping dread of masculine obsolescence, the primal fear that your moment has passed. The most common and devastating mistake you can make right now is to try and fight him on his own turf. To force a higher energy you don't feel, to mimic a language that isn't yours, to become a hollow echo of a younger man. This path only exposes you as a fraud, broadcasting a desperate, try-hard energy she can sense instantly. But this entire game is rigged against you only if you choose to play it. There is another way, a secret that weaponizes your experience, and it's a power a 20-year-old is psychologically incapable of faking. I'm Ph.D. Madison, and I'm here to tell you that your biggest fear is based on a profound misunderstanding of female desire. You have been sold a lie, the lie that youth is the ultimate currency of attraction. For a certain type of woman, perhaps it is. But for a high-quality woman, a woman of substance and depth, a younger man is often not the prize, but the obstacle she must overcome to get to someone like you. This isn't about learning to keep up. It's about understanding that you are not even in the same race. You're in a different league entirely, and it's time you learned the rules to a game you were built to dominate. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to dismantle the flawed logic that has been costing you opportunities and show you how to weaponize your age. We will explore the unshakable fortress of calm that makes you a magnet in a world of boyish anxiety. We will decode the gravity of experience and how your past, even your scars, can create an almost gravitational pull of high status. And on that note, I'm always curious to see where this message is resonating. Drop your city or state in the comments below. It's a powerful reminder that you aren't alone. But the most potent advantage, the one trait a 20-year-old is psychologically incapable of faking, is the one I'm saving for the very end. So let's establish the ground rules for how you're going to see the world from now on, through a lens that has taken me years of observation to refine. My authority doesn't come from academic theory alone. It comes from watching these exact dynamics unfold in thousands of real-world interactions. I've seen men with every advantage on paper, looks, money, status, fail because they were deaf to the real conversation. They were listening for words, for direct signals, for a clear yes or no, when the real communication was happening in the spaces between words, in the timing of a glance, in the subtle hesitation before a laugh. A woman's interest, her respect, her desire, it's rarely a broadcast, it's a frequency. And I'm here to give you the receiver. The fundamental mistake most men make is reading attraction like a checklist. A smile, a touch on the arm, a laugh at a joke. They see these as isolated points on a scoreboard, each one a sign of progress. This is a dangerously simplistic and fragile way to navigate a woman's inner world. A single gesture in isolation is meaningless. What truly matters are the patterns that emerge over time, the context surrounding the interaction, and especially the contradictions. Does her body language lean in while her words create distance? Does she ask you a deeply personal question and then immediately change the subject? These aren't random glitches. They are emotional data points. They are the subtle tests and unconscious signals that reveal her true intentions, and learning to read them is the first step toward genuine power. This is precisely where your age becomes your secret weapon, because this kind of nuanced perception is almost impossible for a younger man to master. He is too caught up in his own performance, too desperate for a clear signal of validation, to notice the subtle currents of the interaction. His focus is on what he's going to say next, on whether he's winning. He is playing checkers, moving from one square to the next. You, however, have the capacity to play chess. You have the life experience to understand that human connection is not linear. It's about absorbing the entire emotional atmosphere of the room, sensing the unspoken needs, and responding not to her words, but to the feeling underneath them. You aren't just listening to the notes, you're starting to hear the music. Let's begin with the most immediate and observable advantage you possess: the fortress of calm. A younger man's energy is often a chaotic broadcast of anxiety. He's performing, constantly adjusting his approach based on the feedback he thinks he's getting. He's trying to be interesting, to be funny, to be liked. This creates a subtle but persistent vibration of neediness. Your advantage is to be the absolute antithesis of this. Your energy should be a quiet, absorbing gravity. You aren't broadcasting, you are observing. Your calm is not passive. It's an active filter. It communicates that you are not there to audition for her. You are there to determine if she is interesting enough for you. This simple inversion of intent is a power move that immediately separates you from the frantic energy of every boy in the room. Imagine a simple, common scenario. A dinner reservation gets lost, or a planned event is unexpectedly canceled. The 20-year-old often sees this as a catastrophic failure of his performance. He might get flustered, visibly angry, or start frantically trying to fix it, his stress contaminating the entire interaction. He is trying to manage the logistics to salvage his own ego. The mature man, however, greets the same situation with a quiet, almost amused detachment. He might turn to her with a slight smile and say, "Well, that's not what I expected. Let's find a new adventure." He understands the event was never the point. The shared experience is. His unshakable calm becomes the solution, transforming a moment of chaos into an opportunity for spontaneity and connection, proving he is a source of stability, not stress. But it's crucial you understand that this calm is far more than just a cool demeanor. If you simply stand there silently, you risk projecting aloofness or, worse, being completely invisible. The power of this calm is what it signals to her primal brain. It is a direct indicator of resilience. It tells her non-verbally that you have weathered far greater storms than a lost dinner reservation. It suggests a history of navigating real-world complexities and emerging unfazed. This is the foundation. Now let's move beyond the mere absence of anxiety and into the active projection of high status, because what you do with this calm is what truly begins to build that irresistible gravitational pull. This is where we decode the gravity of experience. A younger man lives in the future. His conversations are filled with his potential, his ambitions, the man he will become. He sells her a stock that hasn't paid a dividend yet. You, on the other hand, are the walking embodiment of your history. Every success, every failure, every scar has been integrated into your presence. You don't need to recite your resume. This gravity is felt in the economy of your words, the patience in your gaze, and the certainty of your movements. It's the quiet confidence of a man who has been tested by life and has the results to prove it. He doesn't need to talk about his strength. His presence is the evidence. Let's look at how this manifests in conversation, specifically in storytelling. A boy tells a story to impress. He is the unquestioned hero of every narrative. The focus is on his victory, his cleverness, his triumph. It's a performance designed to elicit admiration. A man tells a story to connect. He might share a moment of vulnerability, a lesson learned from a mistake, or an observation about human nature. He is often not the hero, but the observer, guiding her to a shared insight. This shift from, "look how great I am," to "look what I learned," is profoundly seductive. It invites her into his inner world, creating a sense of intellectual and emotional intimacy that a boy's bragging simply cannot achieve. This ability to connect through stories is born from a far more sophisticated skill: reading the subtext of the interaction. A younger man is playing a verbal tennis match, focused only on returning the ball and scoring his next point. He listens to her words. You, however, must learn to listen to her silences. You listen for the hesitation before she answers a question, the subtle shift in her eye contact when a certain topic is raised, the emotion she's trying to hide behind a casual laugh. This is where the real conversation is happening. Her words are the script, but her nonverbal cues are the director's notes, and learning to read them is what separates the men from the boys. And once you begin to read that subtext, your response must be equally nuanced. Consider the classic scenario where a woman shares a personal problem or expresses frustration. The boy's insecure mind immediately scrambles for a solution. He wants to prove his value by fixing it for her. "You should do this," or "why don't you just try that?" He offers unsolicited advice because he thinks his utility is his primary value. The mature man understands the unspoken request. She is not looking for a consultant, she is looking for an ally. He listens patiently, absorbs the emotion, and offers pure validation. That sounds incredibly frustrating. He doesn't solve her external problem, he solves her internal one, the feeling of being alone in her struggle. This dynamic is closely related to the misunderstood concept of female tests. These are not conscious, malicious games. They are unconscious probes from her psyche, searching for emotional bedrock. She might subtly challenge an opinion you have, cancel a date at the last minute, or ask a question that feels slightly provocative. These are all designed to answer one fundamental question: is his frame solid, or will it shatter under the slightest pressure? The boy, whose ego is fragile, sees this as a direct attack. He becomes defensive, argumentative, or needy. He takes the bait every single time because he thinks the point is to win the argument or prove his commitment. He doesn't realize the test was never about the content. The mature man, grounded in his fortress of calm, understands this implicitly. He doesn't see a test, he sees information. When she challenges his opinion, he doesn't become defensive, he becomes curious. "Interesting perspective, tell me more." When she flakes on a date with a vague excuse, he doesn't demand a better reason. He replies with a simple, genuine, "No problem, hope everything is okay. Let me know when you figure out your schedule." And then he actually lets it go. He passes the test by demonstrating, through his actions, that his emotional well-being is not contingent on her approval or her presence. This powerful indifference is captivating, but it's merely the symptom of something much deeper and almost impossible to fake. This brings us to the psychological bedrock of mature masculine energy: genuine outcome independence. A younger man is fundamentally attached to the outcome of the interaction. He is on a mission to get something: the number, the date, the validation, the kiss. This neediness, this goal-oriented focus, leaks out of him in 1,000 subtle ways, from the way his voice rises in pitch to the way he leans in too eagerly. It creates a pressure she can feel, the pressure of his expectations. The mature man, in stark contrast, operates from a state of being, not a state of getting. His primary goal is not to get something from her, but to enjoy the present moment and see if she is someone he wants to share his time with. This isn't a mindset you can simply adopt like a new shirt. It is the natural result of a life well lived. Your confidence is real because it is rooted in things outside of her. It comes from your purpose, your passions, your friendships, the challenges you've overcome, and the world you have built for yourself. The younger man is often still constructing his identity, and he unconsciously looks for a woman to be a key pillar in that construction. He needs her to validate his sense of self. You, however, have already built your cathedral. You are not asking her to help you lay the foundation. You are inviting her in to admire the stained glass windows. This is an invitation of offering, not of asking, and it completely transforms the power dynamic. This state of being, this calm, this outcome independence, this lived experience, coalesces into a single, powerfully primal signal, a protective presence. This isn't about being physically imposing. It's about being psychologically unshakable. It is the deep, unspoken feeling a woman gets in your presence that you can handle reality. She senses that if the world outside gets loud and chaotic, your inner world will remain quiet and ordered. This allows her to relax on a fundamental neurological level. In a world that constantly demands she be hypervigilant, your presence is a sanctuary. It's the feeling of safety that her nervous system has been craving, an ancient aphrodisiac that a boy's restless, anxious energy can never replicate. When all these elements are in place, the interaction is no longer a game of pursuit and evasion. You are not trying to win her over, and she is not trying to screen you out. It becomes a genuine exploration between two complete individuals. She doesn't feel the need to put on a performance or maintain her guard, because your non-judgmental presence gives her permission to be her most authentic self. The connection that forms in this space is real, and it is deep. But even with this powerful foundation in place, there is one final signal, a layer of communication so subtle it's almost silent, that elevates you from being just a desirable man to being an utterly irreplaceable one. It's the secret that ensures you are the one she thinks about long after the conversation is over. Let's make this abstract concept intensely concrete. Picture a first date at a busy coffee shop. She mentions, almost offhandedly, "My boss is driving me insane this week." The younger man hears a problem to be solved. He leans in, his mind racing, offering a flurry of solutions. "You should report him to HR," or, "Why don't you start looking for another job?" He's trying to prove his utility, to be her hero. He's playing a literal game, responding to her words. The mature man hears the same sentence but sees the exhaustion in her eyes, the slight slump in her posture. He doesn't offer a single piece of advice. Instead, he leans back, creating a pocket of calm, holds her gaze, and says with quiet certainty, "That sounds exhausting." He's not responding to the problem, he's validating the emotion. In that moment, she doesn't feel managed, she feels seen. This is the difference between hearing her words and understanding her world. Now consider the interaction after that date. The boy, high on the connection, texts her that night, "Had an amazing time. When can I see you again?" His eagerness creates a pressure she can feel, a demand for reciprocation. If she cancels their next date with a vague excuse, his insecurity floods his response. "Oh, okay, is everything all right?" Followed by a silence heavy with disappointment. The mature man operates on a completely different timeline. He might wait a day before sending a text that's an offering, not a question. "Heard that band we talked about is playing downtown. Just a heads up." If she cancels, his response is genuine and brief. "No problem, hope everything is okay. Let me know when your schedule clears up." He then puts his phone down and redirects his focus to his own life, not because it's a tactic, but because her validation is not the source of his well-being. This isn't a game of feigned indifference. It's the quiet power of a life already complete. Finally, imagine them together at a friend's party. Someone in the group makes a subtle jab at him, a test disguised as a joke. "Wow, you still drive that old car? My dad had one of those." The boy's ego is immediately hooked. He gets defensive, justifying why his car is reliable or explaining he's saving for a new one. He's arguing the facts because he mistakenly believes the conversation is about the car. The mature man understands the conversation is never about the car, it's about status. He smiles, lets the comment hang in the air for a beat, and then, without breaking his calm, might say, "It's a classic, like me." He then turns his attention back to her, non-verbally dismissing the challenger and pulling her into his frame. He didn't just deflect the test. He used it to demonstrate that his self-worth is internally generated and immune to the opinions of others. This is the essence of an unshakable frame, and it is profoundly attractive. However, a crucial warning must be issued here, a point where many men, newly armed with this knowledge, begin to self-sabotage. You will be tempted to see every smile as a hidden invitation, every casual touch as a definitive signal, and every moment of shared laughter as a confirmation of her deep-seated desire. This is a dangerous trap. You must resist the urge to overinterpret isolated signals. A single data point is not a trend. True perception is the ability to distinguish between genuine, consistent patterns of interest and the simple, fleeting moments of polite human connection. Your goal is not to become a hyper-vigilant detective desperately searching for clues. It is to become a calm observer, allowing the patterns to reveal themselves over time. Rushing to a conclusion based on a single gesture is the boy's game, driven by hopeful fantasy, not the man's, which is grounded in patient observation. Furthermore, you must avoid the fallacy of absolutism. This is not a video game where passing a test earns you a set number of points and failing one means game over. Human interaction is a fluid, dynamic dance, not a rigid checklist. A woman might be distant not because you failed a test, but because she had a genuinely difficult day at work. She might seem overly enthusiastic not because you are irresistible, but because she is naturally effusive. The context of her life, her personality, and her emotional state are variables you cannot ignore. The true mastery of this philosophy lies not in memorizing tactics, but in developing the emotional intelligence to read the entire situation. Your power comes from your ability to remain centered and unbothered by ambiguity, not from having a perfect pre-written script for every possible scenario. And now we arrive at the final, most decisive revelation, the one that elevates you from being merely desirable to being utterly irreplaceable. Everything we have discussed, the fortress of calm, the gravity of experience, the profound outcome independence, are all prerequisites for this final, masterful advantage: sexual composure. A younger man, even at his best, often carries a subtle, anxious energy into physical intimacy. He is, consciously or not, on a quest for validation. His mind is a frantic checklist of performance anxiety. Am I doing this right? Is she enjoying this? Am I good enough? This transforms an active connection into a silent, stressful audition. But the mature man, fully inhabiting his own skin, is not performing. He is present. He is not seeking to prove his worth, but to share his world. His calm, his focus, and his unshakable presence create a sanctuary, a space so psychologically safe that she can finally, completely let go. This isn't a technique you can learn. It is the ultimate, undeniable evidence of a man who has nothing left to prove. This is the real victory, the one that happens quietly inside you long before she ever feels its effects. It's the realization that you were never in a race with that younger man. You were on a completely different path, one leading to a destination of self-possession and quiet power that he can't even see on his map. Your sexual composure isn't a trick you learn. It is the undeniable signature of your journey. But while understanding this internal shift is the foundation, it's not the complete structure. Knowing you are the source of calm is one thing. Knowing how to make her feel it from your very first word is another. That is the next level. That is why the immediate next step in your journey is the video on your screen right now, titled, "The Art of the Unspoken: How Mature Men Create Attraction Before They Even Speak." It's where we translate this internal power into an irresistible external presence. Click on it now.